Hello everyone and welcome to another reverse campaign. This time we are on the winter 2024 campaign and obviously our usual start block now turns into a finish and our usual finishes are now the starting point. The maps were validated by people from my Discord community, so if you want to help with things like this in the future, then you should consider joining there. On each one of these maps we will have a look at the top 3 fastest drivers, some of them will not always be visible. I try to give a good overview on everyone, but when the cars are too far apart, I will just focus on the world record run as it's the most interesting thing to check. The video is coming a bit late, but that's because the campaign itself got released late. Usually they drop the campaign on the first day of the month, but this time if I recall correctly it was on the 7th of January or something like that. And that caused all my deadlines to move as well. And also the Relic Discovery campaign also got released, and I had to make the maps there, and in general, this season was very busy. There was a lot of maps to play with less time than usual. But I still think the drivers had enough, the records are really good, there was a bunch of cool fights, a lot of interesting ways have been found on the maps, so I have nothing to complain about. I just hope that my lovely track maniacs will still watch this video even though the new campaign is already out, and that's where everyone's focus is. Well, maybe let's talk a bit about the maps now. The first 3 tracks were pretty fun, nothing too hard there, but they were also not boring at all. Especially map 2, which I personally enjoyed a lot. Now on map number 4, the coolest thing is the start where you go backwards over the boosters to negate the slowdown effect. I think at first people drove the entire track backwards, but it was found out later that it's better to turn around right behind the anti-boosters. The end of the track is also a bit tricky as the fastest way leads through the water puddle. Probably very easy to fail that, but we are watching world record runs, obviously there shouldn't be any major fails here. You know what, I wonder if there is even a point in me commentating over these runs. On maps like 05 for example, there is not much I can say, the runs are pretty self-explanatory, as the cars just follow the road and that's it. You just try to drive fast turns, maintain good speed, do I really have to say that? I know a lot of people prefer to listen to me talking over the records instead of having some kind of music playing in the background like on most of my older videos, but I wonder if I even have to talk about the runs or can I just talk about anything. Personally, I'm the kind of person that enjoys listening to something in the background anytime I'm eating something. And usually I just search for some video where I can hear someone talking. It's not just about having some kind of ambient noise, having music playing in the background is not enough. And I prefer some sort of commentary. I don't really know why that is the case, because often I don't even listen to what the person is saying, yet alone watch the actual video. But it somehow just feels better to get through my morning breakfast routine together with one of the YouTubers I follow. Obviously there are some videos that I prefer to watch while being fully focused on what's happening, but if it is a chill commentary over a let's play of some game, it can just be running in the background and I can just peek from time to time, but generally being occupied by something else. So yeah, it all depends on how people treat my videos, I guess. I'm sure the people that actually hunt the records will come here mainly to just watch through all the maps and see how they did in comparison to others. But for the more casual viewers, I guess it heavily depends on having some kind of hook that will grab them and make them want to watch further through the video. And if the tracks are not interesting enough, because obviously I have no impact on that, then I guess I have to help myself by saying something interesting. And I feel like just talking about what's happening in each consecutive record will be very repetitive. It's another thing when you are trying to tell some kind of story, but here it's just a record compilation, one of the tracks ends, and you can forget about it right as the new one starts. There is nothing that ties the maps together, and for the viewer it can be an easy point to stop watching. Like, okay, this map is boring, I will watch it to the end and close the video before the next one starts. And this way you would not feel like you have ended this story in the middle without knowing what's the end, because there is no end. It's just a group of short stories that do not create a one string of events. So I thought, let's try something else and let's just talk about anything. The people that came purely for the records will probably watch it regardless, and people that are just seeking some kind of entertainment can listen to my random talking if the actual records start to not be very interesting. Okay, maybe here I will get back to records commentary, as we have the only unfinished track of the campaign. I don't know who the mapper was, but they really played us dirty with this finishing placement, as on the reverse version there is absolutely zero chance you can reach the nearest platform, so I sadly declare this map impossible. And if someone proves me otherwise, I will livestream myself play 1 million laps of EO5 Endurance in Trackmania Nations Forever, while sitting on a cactus and with my hair burning and with my keyboard being covered in ketchup. I don't know, I could say anything here, nobody ever fulfilled these promises anyway. But I really do believe that map sadly won't ever be finished, and that's the point. Now going back to what I was saying, I also don't want you to get me wrong. I want to emphasize that I fully respect the people hunting the runs. They do a great job, they put a lot of time and effort into this, but sometimes the tracks are just not that interesting to watch. Like on checkpointless campaigns, there sometimes are tracks which are the same gameplay wise as the original versions, and it really feels very unnecessary to show them. But there are people that care about them. The people that hunted for top 3 on these maps want to see themselves being shown in the video, and it would be a bit disrespectful to just skip them. Sometimes also there are maps where for a very long time nothing is happening, like Dragon Eat records or stadium climbs. These are very repetitive, and usually there is 1 minute of slow and boring build-up for 10 seconds of action, and for me as a video maker it's awful to include that, but if I don't include that, it would just not feel right. If I'm making a record compilation, then the main goal is supposed to be to show all the records. But that sometimes contradicts my personal goal as a video maker of making interesting videos that will be fun to watch for everyone, not just for a small group of people. This is, by the way, probably the coolest looking record of this campaign. Already the start was interesting, but doing the same trick second time, also with the jump at the end directly into the finish, this is an absolute beauty. And hey, look, it's me right there on the second place. I feel like this map has not been hunted that much because of the weird start that you have to do. There are actually like 3 different strategies you can use, and you should be able to see them later on. Anyway, this is where I have to find some compromise. Show all the records, even the less action-packed ones, while also making the video interesting to watch for everyone. And as I said, this would be my solution. Let's just talk about anything. Maybe there will be people that get invested in my rambling, and they just stay. Maybe eventually people will stop caring about Trackmania and they will click the videos just to hear what I have to say. I don't really know, but I'm experimenting. Also, it would be really silly if I just make a Trackmania compilation with voiceover that has nothing to do with the video's content. I guess I will still talk a bit about maps when I have something valuable to say, but for the most part you can see everything yourself, and the records will not need any extra input from me to be comprehensible. Ideally for me, I would just watch through the runs and commentate about everything live, and I actually attempted it, but I was not satisfied with the results. I guess my English speaking skills are just not good enough to freestyle talk for 20 minutes and make it interesting. I stutter a lot, I do long pauses a lot, I mispronounce a ton of words, and sometimes I just can't find the word I'm thinking about for a long time, and that totally ruins the flow. Oh, here map 16 is a really cool one. The path that has been found here is really satisfying, like you jump between totally different sections of the map, but somehow it just works perfectly. Almost like it was all intentionally planned to work like that, but you will see yourself near the end of the run. Well, going back to what I was saying, this is why for now I have decided to just write down everything I want to say and just read it. This way I can just re-record any part of my commentary that I don't like and replace it. Obviously that takes much more time, but I prefer to spend more time and just be satisfied with the final result, and I really dislike it when I'm not satisfied with what I'm uploading. Sometimes I just get upset with some really minor things that most of the viewers will not even notice, but it will just keep bothering me, and anytime I return to watch the video, it will just strike me right away. This is also why I sometimes waste a lot of time rendering my videos several times, because I just notice a small editing mistake, like a typo or a missing video transition. Alright, here on this map I guess I might give you some more explanation. The drivers are going in circles to get rid of the wet wheels effect. You can't do that while driving on the wood road later on, so you have to use that piece of platform here. It looks pretty silly, but it's pretty necessary for the thing that you want to do later on. This is also one of the harder tracks of the campaign. I don't think I have finished it myself. The water escape is rather doable, but escaping the ending area is slightly more complicated, as you will see right about now. Yeah, so as I was saying, I just hate leaving editing mistakes in my videos, hoping that nobody notices. If I notice something, that it just can't stay. Of course, I'm not a robot and I miss some mistakes from time to time, but then if someone points that out to me, I just feel so bad, like man, I watched this like a million times, render a million more, and there is still a silly mistake I missed. It just feels so bad. Perhaps I should care less and this way I would upload more stuff, but this is how I work. Either I try to do my best or I'm just not motivated to do anything at all. And I feel like if I want to keep on making videos, motivation is the most important thing. If I ever have a feeling that what I'm doing is pointless and I'm just wasting my time, there is not much that can help me. I don't really treat it like a job because I'm just too small to be motivated by the money I make out of ads and donations and memberships. By the way, if you do want to support me, you can consider becoming a member of my channel. Somewhere below the video there should be a button that says support or something similar. And if you click it, you can pick a tier and each tier gives some small little perks. This is of course if you really want to. Not everyone can afford it, surely, and of course not everyone wants to spend their money on content that they get for free, because why would they? But if you are willing to, then know that for sure it will put a smile on my face. Okay, let's end this self-promotion panel. I was talking about being motivated to make videos. I treat it more as a hobby, and what would be a point of doing a hobby that you don't even enjoy? Luckily for now I still do enjoy making videos. I still have a lot of plans for future videos, but I currently have a small issue with these reverse and checkpointless compilations. Well, actually two issues. First one being the fact that I can see that the views are just not always there, and I am never gaining any more viewers by uploading these. They are just videos for the people that are already subscribed, and anyone outside just don't watch them usually. Second issue is about it being repetitive and not very memorable. Like every season I have to make these 2 videos, and by the time the next season arrives everyone forgets about the previous ones and they just wait for a fresh upload. These are not videos that you ever want to return to, because nobody will care about old campaigns after a while. Like, I don't know, I kinda don't feel like doing this type of content anymore. I prefer to focus on doing cool challenges, telling interesting stories, this type of stuff. The stuff that you can rewatch after a while and it will still be up to date. It's also a bit boring from editing perspective, since for each map I always have to do the same things. It just feels like there is zero creativity in making such videos. But I'm trying to combat that a bit with added commentary, but I'm not sure if I will stay motivated to keep on doing that for future campaigns. Maybe this summer campaign will be the last one I make videos on and I will have more time for other projects. I know some people will get really upset about that, but I want to be creative and I want to try different things. For now I'm just complaining a lot, just sharing my thoughts, nothing is really decided yet, and I guess we will just see how things will unfold. In the meantime, I will give you a few words about the current track we are watching, Map 20 Reverse. You can see that the fastest driver is currently in the last place and also pretty far behind. That's where you can wonder, how does the position swap, and also with over 2 seconds gap between first and second? The answer is simple, a shortcut. I'm not actually sure if you should be calling this a shortcut, because in theory these maps do not have an intended way and you are just supposed to find the fastest one, but here it kinda fits since it's just one person doing the faster way of finishing. Here you can also see what others did, which is basically fully following the regular path but in reverse. And that leads you through this slow motion gate, which wastes a lot of time. Pretty crazy how here you have undeniable proof that using slow motion is actually a huge waste of time, and some so-called Trackmania experts claim that people used it to drive inhuman times in older Trackmania games. I don't know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, more seriously, right here we have a stadium roof climb track. I guess I have to try really hard for you to stay entertained. Please don't skip to the interesting part. It is bad for the watch time, and watch time is currently the thing that rules YouTube. I find it kinda silly since the algorithm seems to be based purely on time someone spends watching your videos and not on the percentage watch time of individual videos. For example, I feel like if I upload a 1-minute video and people watch it for 55 seconds, that would be pretty great. But the YouTube Creator Studio will tell me that my other videos were better, because on average people watched, for example, a 10-minute video for 6 minutes. And even though the shorter video is watched to the end by more people, the longer video is the one they want to promote. It kinda makes sense since their goal is to make people stay on their platform for as long as possible, and guaranteed 6 minutes is better than 1 minute. But it really favors long video formats. Maybe I'm totally wrong in this and the difference really doesn't work like that, but this is just based on my own observations on my own channel. In general, one of the things I dislike the most about doing YouTube is thinking about how to grab the first attention of the people scrolling by. That means doing clickbait thumbnails and titles. Sometimes I really cringe at myself when I'm making this, and I think mine are not even that bad. Like I put these red arrows and circles sometimes, which are a bit vintage nowadays. For today's clickbait standards you have to put your face onto thumbnail and open your mouth like you are surprised, and nah, I would die of cringe if I force myself to ever do something like that. But the saddest thing is that it works and it sucks. About video titles, it's also stupid that they don't have to be informative or anything, you just have to grab someone's attention. So put a lot of big letters, exclamation marks, or some bullshit like "I did the impossible challenge", and then in the video you just play a goddamn khaki map. Because less people would click if you call the video "Khaki Maps playthrough" or something like that. These things suck, but luckily when it comes to the video contents alone, I usually don't have to force myself to do things that I feel are stupid but are good for the algorithms. I really feel like I'm just complaining all the time. Maybe after all I will reach the opposite goal and everyone will get bored of the old man's complaining. But these are just the first things that came to my mind while trying to write something. Maybe next time I will find a cool, interesting story that I will be able to tell you. In general, I'm open to all sorts of feedback, even the negative one. If you prefer full Trackmania commentary, let me know. If you prefer no commentary at all, also let me know. But about that, I already got a lot of comments that said it's a big improvement to have some voiceover. So yeah, I guess I will be just experimenting around that. People were also experimenting a lot with the ways on this map, and shortly before the deadline the world record route changed a couple of times. I tried to collect every important version, but still, I'm not sure if I didn't miss something. The entire top 4 used the same way, but right here on 5th place we have something quite different. The start was identical, but then you don't do the difficult wall bounce to reach the higher areas, but instead you can jump to the grass around the track. Those that watched the checkpointless video of this campaign should be familiar with this and with the fact that there are some useful ramps out there. With a cool plastic bounce you reach the checkpoint number 1, and that lets you collect all the missing checkpoints while driving the standard way in normal direction. Once you have all checkpoints, grab the reactor boost and the finish is identical to the top 4 records. I guess you can tell why this is slower than the runs we have watched before. Driving around on grass simply costs a lot of time. There is one more run that I want to show you. This one survived on 7th place, and I think this is the very first route that was taken while people discovered the track. The idea here is as simple as it gets. Right away you drop to the grass, gather speed, use the ramps to reach the start section. And then you can drive the entire track in standard direction. Once again, drop down and repeat the jump you did before. I will be speeding up the sections where we don't learn anything new. I guess everyone should mostly know how the standard map looks like. Personally, I barely play the original campaigns. The current season I don't even have every author medal yet, which usually I treat as a minimum goal for myself. It would be kinda weird to just start making the alterations without even knowing how the maps are played normally, and going for all author medals is enough to get to know the tracks, but somehow I decided to stop on gold on the last two maps. Maybe I should get back to them at some point, just for tradition. The thing is that in general I don't play very often, I just spend almost all my time in the game doing something video related, and I don't just casually play. For example, I think I still have not played Cup of the Day even once, and I only played few Track of the Days in the early days after the game was released. I also barely played Royal, it was pretty enjoyable when I did, but then I just didn't have time to play more and I forgot about it. I have heard there were some reworks, so maybe it's worth checking again, but I think I've heard mainly negative feedback, so I don't know. Maybe it's good that I didn't do that. I think maybe it would be easier to get back to casual playing if I started streaming some random playthroughs, but I also can never find time for that, and doing 1 hour long streams if I have some spare time would feel kinda silly. I loved the good old days when we are hunting hard cuts with fastest way only FWO, or just adding a ton of random tracks from Trackmania Exchange to search for more cuts to hunting. But at some point I just got burnt out and it just doesn't feel the same anymore. Maybe it has to do something with being an adult. Nowadays, when I spend a lot of time doing something and I'm not getting any results, I get annoyed that I could be more productive doing something else. As a kid, I could play one map a few hours a day for a few weeks, and in the end it didn't even matter if it was me that drove the world record or one of my teammates. The goal was to do something and have fun while doing it, and the means that were required were not important. Sometimes I want to return to that, but I guess the right moment has to come for that. I need to get hit with this divine motivation boost or some sort of inspiration, or maybe I just have to organize my time better to have some more spare time. I feel like I'm starting to complain again and I didn't want to do that, I'm sorry. Trust me, I will try to be more positive next time. But yeah, I guess for now I will stick to complaining. The weather sucks. It was already like over 20 degrees Celsius here at the start of April, and now it's back to like 5-6 degrees. I hate cold weather with a passion. If I ever get rich, I will move out to some country that is hot all the time, like Spain, Egypt, or maybe the sun, anything but Central Europe. Okay, that's enough. We are almost at the end, so maybe I will focus more on what's going on the screen. We are at the map 25, and here for a change I used 4 cars instead of 3, and that is because the map only had 4 finishers, so it would feel bad to not include that one replay. Scrappy now owes me a shoutout on his channel for including him. Just kidding, but I know he plays the reverse campaigns and posts a video about that each time. Actually, this time he was even faster than me. I just checked, and at the moment I'm writing this, his video was already posted 3 days ago. So yeah, I'm pretty late with this, but better late than never, I guess. I really don't know what to do about the rally discovery campaigns. I also have to make videos for reverse and checkpointless there. But I don't want to flood my channel with only campaign remixes. I think I will do a documentary style video next. I started writing a script for myself and I think it will turn out really good. So I'm kinda hyped to get it done. But stuff like this usually takes a lot of time, so maybe I will start doing another thing in the same time. I doubt I will ever get to the point where I just sit down and I will not have something that I can work on. I just have too many ideas and too little time. Meanwhile, on our map we have returned to the main area of the track, so now it's just a matter of collecting all of the checkpoints. Which will still take a while because the track is normally also a long boy. Crazy how with almost 4 minutes length the first two positions are so close to each other. This is how you know that people actually hunted the tracks. I still remember the days when just finishing a track with a stadium roof climb was an achievement. Now players are just hunting them and doing stadium roof climbs as part of their daily routine. The skill ceiling in Trackmania is just forever being pushed. It's easiest to see that when TMNF world records are still getting improved after all these years. Blah blah blah, the closer you are to the goal, the further you push it away, you know the drill. But it is true, and that's why the game is so great. You know what also is great? The person hearing this. If you have watched the entire video so far, I want to thank you a lot, and if you just skipped through most of the video just to reach this point, then I'm also thankful, but not as much. It's still cool that you are here, but I recommend watching everything. It took me a while to make this. Also huge thanks to all the drivers and to the people from my Discord server where they helped me validate the tracks. Remember to join there if you haven't already. Also remember to leave me some kind of comment, you can tell me what's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast is. Comments are also good for YouTube algorithms from what I've heard. I'm not sure if giving a like is that impactful nowadays, but subscribing surely is, so you can subscribe as well. And for the end of the video, let's also see the final campaign standings. Huge respect to everyone out here, they did a really great job and they provided us with some really good content. I also want to give a special shout out to my channel members. If you also want to be listed here, you can become a member. It will make me very happy. That is everything for today, have a good day, goodbye!